7:02. If everybody can read the minutes from last time. There's 3 agenda items on the agenda that are all continued. Shingle Mill project is continued to April 12th.
Go slow. Continue. Go slow. Alright.
Alright.
Next.
327, 333 Weymouth Street is continued to April 12th.
Gotta be very distinct. Go.
And 4 Pleasant Park Road is continued to April 12th.
Thank you.
So the only thing on the agenda tonight is 365 Concord Street, and that hearing is closed. It's just a board deliberation.
Pass this down to Lorraine. Oh, she can't read, right?
No,
Yep. You left them someplace.
What these? They really feel home control.
Oh, okay, that's what I use.
$1.99
Try see if you can
Get them at the
see
dollar
it.
store too.
because I lose them all the time.
There you go.
Alright, thank you.
Can you read?
They're only like
Yeah.
they're only like 1.5, so
Oh.
I'm not that blind yet.
They put stuff in
Anyway,
the
it's
car.
Mr. Pepperell is another fast story back
Oh, they put it all back in my pocketbook. I couldn't even-
Yeah, it was in the paper on January 22nd. Yeah, the Alaminos was in there, and then the other one, the other guy that is the one that actually sold this in the machine. So, please. Me? Right here?
Something you said here, but you can't find it.
Oh, that's something I said.
But I want you, there's something that, there is, iron, to be iron. And something, so whatever you said, remember what you said.
Very nice manual. Full color.
Isn't the WPA something that was started in the Depression?
You asking me?
Well, under the thing with Charlene and the iron, it says under the WPA.
Wetlands protection.
Wetlands? Okay. I did a throwback to Roosevelt.
I wasn't alive then.
Actually, I stopped World War II because I was born in January '44. Everybody said
Very nice.
it's,
Service good of you.
I'm glad that you did that. Maybe you can go over the line.
Yeah. I said, has anybody ever heard of Bill Chamberlain and the easement? Because we're going through the same thing now. I was absolutely over there. Pardon my French. Mhm.
How we doing on that?
Something about that iron.
Yeah, I had no idea. Must be have to be ironed out or something like that.
That's good. And this is a duplicate thing for under abutters, the second one down. It's, once the hearing is closed, there's no public comment. Once the hearing is closed, no additional public comments. It's duplicate.
Yeah, she's just making sure. No public comment.
Yeah, listen to me. Listen to me.
Yes.
No public comment. No.
She just wanted to make sure that we knew that. That's all.
Well, because we were talking about the EPA, we need to have the WPA. I'm going, what? Okay.
Lorraine, this is a really nice handbook.
Thanks, Donald.
Donald made this?
No, he got them for us.
I was gonna say. I think you guys should have your picture on the front of it. Just saying. Were you an English teacher?
No, but I took all my extra credits in school were in the English area.
Apparently.
The liberal arts parts that I didn't need for my accounting degree.
Very nice.
And also, I speak well English.
Yes, I said that. Any corrections?
No,
Besides
nothing
the-
like it.
Besides the duplicate?
It's not really duplicate, that was your response to their question. I just fixed it, so it looks like it's more of a question, but that was your response to the question.
I'm gonna leave iron at the end of the sentence. I mean, it's one of those things, you know, fill in the blank.
Anybody else have any comments on the minutes? Motion?
Motion to accept the meetings is.
The minutes.
Yeah.
Motion meeting. Second,
Second.
all in favor? Alright, so we'll go right to 365 Concord Street. For anybody who just came, the only thing that we're handling tonight is 365 Concord Street. And that hearing's closed, so there's no public comment on it. The board's just gonna decide whether to approve or deny the project at this point. Marty's running some numbers for us.
And I'm just
Thank you, her.
texting someone for the numbers, but,
So they've met all of the guidelines under the state regulations. We've already kind of touched on that. They've met all of our local guidelines except for two pieces of our local bylaw. 25-foot no disturb zone and the extra 100-foot from the vernal pool. So we have to decide whether we're gonna issue a waiver or not. Discussion, questions? Marty, do you wanna jump in on anything?
maybe just a real high level recap, of
Yes.
where the site design is now. I mean, they've gone through a lot of iterations of the plans, and they've made some improvements. They've pulled work back out of the 25-foot no disturb along the back of some of the houses. The only impacts that would be in the 25-foot no disturb would be the improvement to the driveway into the site. And the bylaw vernal pool's right there on the left, so any improvements to that road, you're gonna be in the vernal pool, within the bylaw vernal pool boundary, and also in the 25-foot no disturb, there. So the standard for a commission to allow, disturbance in a bylaw resource area first is, do they have an alternative to what they're proposing? And if they don't have an alternative, are they minimizing, and is there a public benefit for a commission to allow a waiver of your performance standards? So what the applicant has proposed is basically to restore some wetlands that were filled, that were associated with the existing house that's on the property. And they're also proposing to restore some 25-foot no disturb in the back of the proposed houses. So it's really, it's up to the commission how you feel about, have they provided enough mitigation that you feel that they've provided a public benefit? One of the things that the public benefit would be for the approximately 7,000 square feet of restoring the wetland is, wetlands do provide, the protection of, wildlife and groundwater protection, flood control and things like that. Those are public benefits. So by restoring that wetland, that is a public benefit. But on the other hand, that area was illegally filled. So really, is that mitigation, in your opinion? So really, those are the big high-level thoughts for the commission to consider. Again, they have reduced the footprint and reduced the amount of disturbance, especially in the 25-foot no disturb throughout. They are still working in the buffer zone to the bordering vegetated wetland in the vernal pool boundary. So really, again, the only impacts are at that entrance into the site. So
Basically, it all comes down to the entrance. They've done everything else that they've asked for.
yeah. The other thing too to consider is there is already a home on the property, so they've already realized some development of it. So this would be obviously in addition to that.
This is the house that was already on the
Yeah.
property that actually had the address of 365 Pines.
Correct.
That when you go in, it's way down here on the
Yeah,
map.
on the-
It's, on
yeah,
the
on the right.
right-hand side.
Correct.
The house was built in '98.
So, but they've met the stormwater standards, so that's all set. Like Doug had said, they met all the performance standards under the Wetlands Protection Act. So basically, the commission tonight can make you could actually make two decisions. You could And I would recommend to approve it under the state regulations, and then you have your bylaw that you'll also have to vote. So they can be two different decisions.
I think we should make two separate decisions.
Marty, can I ask you a question? Which set of approvals, which one of the two sets provides more protection to the wetlands, the 25-foot preserve zone, and that big area that seems to be an extension of the vernal pool? Because there seems to be an awful lot of wetland or species activity in that area.
I don't
I
understand.
don't understand your question.
Yeah.
Which one gives the most protection to the
Local
property?
The local bylaw, of course.
Yeah, oh yeah,
That's the
oh
reason we
yeah,
have it.
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Local
yeah.
bylaw.
Because I remember when I was promoting it at the meeting when the paperwork didn't go through the proper way,
Mhm.
somebody in the audience, when I was telling them why we wanted to do this, said, well, you've got the 100-foot buffer zone. Which of course we don't, because you could,
Yeah.
it's fudged a lot. But anyway.
So, the project overall's a pretty good project. It's not a, it's not a detriment to the town, for sure. It's not another, 40B housing project.
Oh, can I make another stupid question?
I wish you would.
This PUD,
But
was that the one,
please.
PUD, P-U-D, PUD, or pudding? Was these the same people that wanted to take up across the street at Harmon Golf Course, that little practice area and everything they had there? No, so we got something else to look forward to, that's nice.
No, the owner of Harmon Golf, Simeon, wants to put condos on the practice
Mm.
course. Two separate.
Yeah, but they also mentioned it being a PUD too, when they
Oh,
came
yeah.
to us and said,
Oh, yeah.
well, what about this? Okay, I'm just looking forward.
Marty, is there something that we could ask for a waiver for the roadway from the planning board as far as its width and standards? To reduce, reduce overall impact?
Yeah, you could, but it wouldn't take it all, it wouldn't remove it all.
Right, but it would
would-
certainly reduce
yeah,
it, or
Yeah, I mean, it'd be slightly reduced,
say from 6,000 to,
but it's probably
Minimal?
not, yeah, it's probably minimal.
Of course, we never thought to say, how about bridging it so that the wildlife could go from the vernal pool up top there, all the way
Yeah.
past the driveway.
Well,
If
you know,
they raised it up only, 4 feet or something, I mean, salamanders don't walk around on their hind feet, so they don't need a lot of room.
I don't think that's something that we could condition.
you could, but we'd have, the grades there, when you do something like that, you raise the road, and
The grades don't really fit.
it may actually impact more wetlands and buffer zone, to provide that culvert, but it's definitely a good thought. They are, as far as, replacing that culvert, there may be some work there. Actually, there is proposed, they're gonna replace the culvert, so there's gonna be a connection there. But it's not the 3-sided box culvert or bridge that would be perfect. But in order to do that, you have to meet it, and again, you might be actually altering wetlands
More
to do
wetlands.
that. Yeah, more wetlands.
Can I ask a question about the mitigation? You say some of it, part of it was wetlands that was filled illegally?
Yes.
How much?
It was over 6,000 square feet. They're restoring 7,500 square feet.
And did you get the number on, sorry to interrupt you, did you get the number on what they're modifying? Is it less than
We actually-
7,500?
We had asked the applicant to quantify the impacts to the 25-foot no disturb, and the vernal pool, resource area, and they didn't provide that, so we actually quantified it. So John said that it was estimated 3,385 square feet of disturbance to the 25-foot no disturb. 515 of that is within 100 feet of the potential vernal pool. So basically, they're altering 500 square feet of vernal pool resource area and close to 3,500 square feet of the 25-foot no disturb.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I lost my train of thought.
So the restoration area is more than 2 to 1.
Yeah.
More than 2 to 1.
The replication area is what?
More than 2 to 1 replication. Restoration is more than 2 to 1 than what is being disturbed.
Yes, but that's partly wetlands that was already filled, right?
That is right.
So it's not that much. If you calculate how much wetlands was filled, it should be restored anyway.
It is.
Now I've got my train of thought back.
Yep.
Well, this is one vehicle to get it restored. We can look at it that way.
And the draft conditions for that requires them to do it first before they do anything else
Correct.
within 3 months.
And will approve that they're purchased.
You know, so they can do all the grading, site prep, and then if for some reason it's not the planting season, then they have to actually purchase the plants and provide proof that they purchased the plants.
Exactly like we did with the ring. Right.
Yep. So, and
Anybody
then
else?
monitoring and everything, so.
I don't remember where the restoration area was. How far away from that is?
I can show you.
Well, there's actually 2 potential vernal pools on the site.
Yeah, this is the house, the existing house. And here's the 7,500 square feet of restoration area. And here is the certified vernal pool, here is the bylaw vernal pool, and there's another vernal pool down here, which is a bylaw vernal pool. This red line is the 25-foot no disturb from your resource areas. So that 25-foot line, does anyone else want to look at it? The 25-foot line on this plan is 25 feet from the vegetated wetland or the vernal pool resource area, whichever is furthest.
Yeah,
Sure. So this is the 7,500 square feet of restoration. This is this existing one here in the house. Here's a vernal pool, other vernal pool here that they identified. This is your bylaw vernal pool. This is the certified vernal pool. And this is the road in. So any work this side of this red line is in either 25-foot no disturb or the vernal pool resource area.
Yeah, that's the thing, it's so big.
Yeah.
This is a very large area that we're trying to protect.
Yeah.
And this is the road.
And then, yeah,
Yes.
and you say the red line
Right here,
is,
yeah.
and the red line represents?
25-foot no disturb.
So that's, then they're gonna be on it.
Yes. And there's really no, because, you know, the property line's right here.
Yeah.
So there's no way they can move north.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is, in actual point of fact, as John pointed out, in this area, it also goes like back here, because there's more, there's habitat and everything like that, so, yeah.
So while we're looking at that, some things for the board to consider. One, like I said, it's not a bad project. Does it somewhat fit the town? Don't forget, there'll be an alternative to this if this is denied, I'm sure. I'm sure the property owner's gonna wanna develop it. And we all know what happens when a 40B is filed, it waives that bylaw.
Why does it waive our bylaw? It's supposed to be zoning, we're supposed to still have,
I don't know, talk to the governor, I don't know what's the
why,
40B
what the
crap, but
hell did they do with that? I mean, that's crazy. And besides which, have you looked to see what the limits are, or what shows up as being affordable? I can't afford it.
It's 20% below, 20% below market value, affordable housing,
25%.
25%?
For 40Bs?
Yeah,
Yeah, the minimum's 25%.
yeah, for 10% of the units, something, isn't it?
No, they have to have 20.
No, so if there's 100 units, 25 units have to be deemed affordable.
And affordable's 20% below market value?
It's 80% of the median income of the area, and we're metropolitan Boston.
Which means not affordable.
Essentially.
Essentially.
So the affordable unit today, I think, is like at $380 for a 3-bedroom
Yeah.
in our area.
I like the one where the guy wants to build 4 units and he's gonna make a big deal out of it's gonna be 25% affordable. I said, stupid, that's only 1 unit.
So there's that to consider. I'm not putting that out there as like a threat to the board. I'm just saying, there probably will be an alternative project for this. I would think. So that's always, that's always an avenue. That's not an easy avenue for the applicant. Marty, 40B is not an easy thing to file, correct? It's pretty involved.
Yeah, it is.
Or is it more streamlined now than it has been in the past?
I don't really know. Seems like they're all struggle for one reason or another.
So there's that to consider. How many homes is it? 17?
I think it's 20 lots, one in 19 or 20, one's the existing house.
I think they said yes, 19.
19
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
19.
It has been a few more, but I think they brought it down to 19 when they did the redo.
So there's that to consider, and then there's also, the main thing for the board to consider, I guess, is setting precedent.
Yes.
Um,
The answer is no.
we don't wanna set precedent, that's obviously, why we got a bylaw in the first place. So it's a 5-member board, we're all gonna have to vote on it. So, I did talk to land use council about this. Even though we can say this, who knows how really actually true it is. As far as the precedent thing, each project is considered on its own merits. It does, so in other words, it's not as easy for us to say, okay, well, we waived the bylaw here, and the next guy comes in and says, well, you waived it for him, you're gonna waive it for me.
But that's
It's
what
not
I'm
quite
saying,
that.
we know that's not that.
That is true, but it's not quite that easy because each project is considered separately. So, you guys have any more discussion?
I was just looking to see if there was another alternate route.
There's no other alternate route to the process.
Make them parachute in.
Marty, can we approve the project in just condition of the roadway?
Meaning,
Meaning no disturbance on the roadway, find a way to make it happen.
oh. I don't know, we tried that with,
Yeah,
what was there, forget the name of the street.
Dyer?
No,
Norman?
Norman.
I don't know that fun.
no,
Let's see if you.
Norman Street got appealed to the state.
Right, you actually approved that project, but added a condition that they needed to provide the buffer, 25-foot buffer zone.
Right.
But they weren't providing any buffer zone,
At all.
at all. And, that's before your bylaw.
Correct.
And DEP superseded you and
That was-
allowed work right up to the buffer, right up to the wetland line.
But that was
Roughly.
prior to our bylaw.
That was, yes.
Just prior to our bylaw. So if anybody,
So that's it, so the driveway that went in was in there anyway, where they already was.
It's a, I mean,
So that house, yeah.
it's a pre-existing driveway.
Yes, I know, that's what I'm reading that, and I said, that's the thing, and they widened it here.
Because it's for one house.
Correct.
Pre-existing driveway is for one house.
Yes, and now you got all these people
This
going
is
in
for
and out.
Tremendous development.
How much wider is the driveway, Mark?
How much
Yeah.
wider?
The road and the driveway?
I don't have the scale.
That was from here to here, then it's to there.
So it's the number,
Yeah,
times
because
that
figure,
that
if
driveway
it,
will be used for
yeah,
all of
yeah,
those
if you
people.
figure on the one car per house,
Yeah.
which of course there isn't.
Which they would have been before,
Mm.
I mean, one house.
We're not essentially worried about the traffic and everything else, that's more for the planning.
No, I mean, but we're talking about
Worried about the west front.
scrunching along, you know.
We could request a fence along there that's raised off the ground a foot. Or you could approve it, or you could deny it. We'll do something here. I warned everybody last time that this was not gonna be an easy decision. We don't normally deny projects, we try to make them the best we can. And, we get them done.
You said they got some culverts that are going to go under the
Yes,
roadway?
there's an
so that-
existing
so that they
12-inch
can-
culvert.
So that they can transition from this big area that we already know is a habitat that's got a lot of beasties running around. And I believe that John said that from what he had seen, they actually do head in that direction, which would take them to the road. So if they can go underground to cross over into the other, I mean, it's
They
other
probably won't. They'll probably go over land.
Yep. Squish.
So I mean, what's the difference between existing conditions now and post conditions?
Is somebody living in
Well,
the house now?
it'll be wider, a little higher,
But this,
Well,
It's-
traffic going through it.
it's not gonna, there's gonna be no retaining walls. They'll go over the road, they'll walk over the road. They will be coming from, all the wooded area to the south and, but no one, we didn't do a study of which, where the species are migrating from, but, they're probably coming from all around. Some of the conditions we're recommending is to, not allow work on that driveway during vernal pool breeding season. At least get them through one season, without disturbance, and then the work can commence. And then we're also recommending that, if they come back, and try to provide evidence that though the bylaw vernal pool doesn't provide breeding habitat, we have to be there when they're out there, and that if they do in the design changes, basically they have to come back before the commission.
And
They-
that's
yeah.
another thing too. If we grant a waiver, it's for the existing project only. If that is found to not be vernal pool, the project's not getting expanded. It's gonna stay that size, otherwise the waiver's gonna be null and void. So there's gonna be no coming back here saying, okay, well, we studied the vernal pool, we can add 5 more houses. That's not happening.
Yeah, because they'll still have to
Make
get a
that
waiver.
clear.
They'll still have to get a waiver from you, 25-foot no disturb, so at that time you could revote. But I looked at that vernal pool in
It's
99,
definitely vernal.
it is vernal pool. It's classic vernal pool.
Have there been conditions on what they can use for, winter, like no salt or?
I'm
You-
sure
your
that's part
standard-
of our
yeah,
standard
that's-
order.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Which you as a member of the board can add anything you want to the order.
Is there grassland nearby?
Existing?
Bordering the road?
No, it's mostly forested and shrub, yeah, it's woody.
I mean, there's about
At the beginning, there's
a 10 to 15 foot stretch of grass on each side of the driveway right now.
yeah, especially at the beginning, once you get in, it's less.
Yeah, it narrows down a little
Yep,
bit.
it does.
I think it narrows down by the existing pipe.
Yes,
Lorraine? Comments?
No, that's not what I wanted to find out.
Deb? Comments?
No independent.
Jamie, comments? You?
I'm not happy.
Me? Everybody has a vote. Go for one. Marty, anything else to add to this? So somebody needs to make a motion to approve or deny this project.
Yeah, we're voting on two, we're voting on two.
Semantics. Motion to approve the project under DEP regulations
So moved.
and highway guidelines.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, I guess we make a motion to waive the bylaw, or not waive the bylaw at this point.
You basically would approve or approve, say you approve the project under the bylaw, you'd be waiving the performance standards. You'd be approving a project that doesn't meet your performance standards.
Don't sit there and look at me.
How does that
Were
work?
they requesting a waiver of that, or?
Yeah, they did eventually.
Yep.
Yep.
It took them 4 or 5 hearings to present it. Would've thought that would've come up front.
And yeah, the last version was, they included the 7,500 square feet of wetland restoration for mitigation for the waiver requests.
In my eyes, they're not actually providing 7,500 feet of restoration. It was already wetlands and filled in.
So what do we make a motion for? To
Yeah, what-
waive the bylaw?
Somebody has to make a motion to either approve the project under the local bylaw or deny the project under the local bylaw. We have to do one or the other here.
And what was
Just
the
the
other
way it
wording
is.
that Marty said? But it doesn't,
It doesn't meet the performance standards, your performance standards. Your
In other words,
25-foot
25
no
foot
disturbance.
so that sort of puts us on record as not being happy about that. 25-foot being messed up. And that's gonna stay, and because it's the driveway, that's gonna stay there in perpetuity.
The driveway's there now, the driveway's
I
gonna be
know.
there forever.
Yeah.
Whether it's a road or a driveway, it's gonna be there forever. There's a, house up there.
One house.
Well, the thing of it is, if we do that, I want it to be made extremely clear that this is a one-time thing only, and it is not to be construed as being something that this board is going to do on any sort of regular basis, and for any other applicant to make sure that they know.
We're not obligated to waive the bylaw here or again. Well, let's just make that clear. We don't have to. Now, or if we do it now, in the future. We don't have to do it.
So what happens if we say we,
But there is a pre-existing condition here, there is a driveway. It's being expanded. If it was a brand new piece of property that didn't have a driveway on it or whatever, in my opinion, that's a different look.
so you're going with the pre-disturbance defense?
But not to this extent.
I know. But it's like that foot in the door, unfortunately. I'm not happy about that either. What happens if we say we don't like it anymore?
We have to deny the project.
Under the Rockland bylaw.
Correct.
So we approve and we
Disapprove.
That's interesting. Then what happens?
You'd have to have reasoning why, you're basically denying their waiver request. There is, there is the fact that the site's been developed, so they have realized benefit already on the property. And, have they provided sufficient information to you to prove that they haven't, minimized the impacts to the bylaw resource areas? And is there another development scenario on that property that they could basically make some money on? Is there another development, could they put 2 houses in there and use that same driveway? They didn't provide any information about that and why they couldn't do that.
So in other words, an alternative analysis.
And an alternatives analysis. Yeah, maybe the planning board would have to approve a common drive, but they didn't ask them if they would approve it. If the planning board had, if they asked for that and the planning board denied it, then that would have been, a development scenario that they couldn't do because they couldn't use that as a common drive. I don't know what the zoning requirements.
Rockland only allows a common drive for 2 dwellings, so.
So they
So
one
you
more
have
house,
existing and then you have one.
so they could only get one more house.
The straw that broke the camel's back on that's actually across the street from this project. There's 3 houses on one common drive and that ended that real quick. Because basically all those people just fight. There's 3 houses on the same driveway. So who plows it, who mows it off,
Yeah.
who seal coats it,
But again, this is an opportunity for them to restore that wetland.
I mean, we are getting a 2-for-1 restoration. I do agree with Lorraine. I definitely agree with it was a wetland that was previously filled. But previously filled or not, we're still getting it back.
But that's not a vernal pool.
Right. No,
And
it's
what's-
near the
and
vernal
what's-
pools.
And what's right next to the road is a vernal pool.
And it's 300 square feet of vernal pool.
500
500 feet of
plus,
vernal pool.
yeah.
Being affected, the rest of it is our 25-foot no disturb, which is now considered a resource area for us, right?
Yes. I mean, the 100 feet from vernal pool is very important. It's the critical habitat.
Who's gonna make the motion?
Somebody's done it.
I don't know how to word it.
We could sit here all night and let these people sit here and stare at us saying, make a goddamn decision or not. Because that's what everybody in the audience is thinking. I've said my part, so.
I make a motion to deny the waiver of by the local bylaw, because it doesn't meet our performance standards.
All in favor?
How did it go? 3-2?
I just think that it's already existing. I mean, it's unfortunate that it's within that pool area, but.
Could you speak up so we could hear what you were saying?
I'm just saying that I think it's unfortunate, but the existing drive is already existing. I mean, it's already there. The driveway. But unfortunately, it is within the buffer and close to the vernal pool.
So
So
let's,
I don't,
I mean, the vote's already happened, so.
Yeah.
So let's outline what just happened, so we're clear. Deb and Doug did not vote to deny. Lorraine, Virginia, and Charlene voted to deny. The project's denied. Marty, you know what to do, right?
Yes,
As far as everything that we need to discuss in our decision, et cetera, et
Yep.
cetera.
yep, I do.
Land use council wants this outlined significantly.
Outline, okay, like in
Like
facts and
every
findings,
single
Yeah.
reason,
okay.
all the way down to,
I can, bylaw denial. I had two versions here, just for the record. This is what we've drafted so far.
all this has to be in the minutes.
Yeah, and I can,
I'm just letting you know, this all has to be entered into the minutes.
and
Very
I can
important.
provide,
Hold on 1 second.
copy of this.
Pause.
Okay.
Because this is probably gonna go to court, so
I'm getting
it
there.
has to be explicit.
So that's the final vote, deny, 3-2? Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sorry. I
Okay.
am ready for you.
So this
why we
is
have a 5-member board.
a draft findings of fact and approval, so this is an approval under the Wetlands Protection Act and denial by, bylaw denial. And I can go through the special conditions for after I go through the denial. So the denial of the project is rooted in 3 factors: lack of hardship, insufficient information submitted by the applicant, and the applicant's inability to assess other project alternatives that do not result in impact to the 25-foot no disturb or the vernal pool resource area. Although the project has been approved under the Act, the applicant shall submit a new notice under the bylaw if they wish to pursue development of the site, at the site, and the Rockland Conservation Commission will condition the work accordingly. Lack of hardship, the applicant did not provide any indication of a hardship on the part of the property owner. The site's not an undeveloped site. It is presently the location of a single-family dwelling and is being used as such. The applicant chose to develop the property in this fashion, and it is currently serving a purpose to the applicable individual. The site could be sold as a property with a single-family dwelling and provide financial benefits to the property owner. Additionally, improvements or reconstruction related to the existing house could occur with minimal impacts to jurisdictional resource area. Submission of insufficient information. Submission of sufficient information required by the Rockland Conservation Commission to approve the project under the bylaw was not provided. From the onset of the public hearing, obtaining information related to compliance with the 25-foot no disturb zone in the vernal pool resource area proved difficult and required 4 peer reviews letters submitted by the Commission's peer reviewer. Sufficient information was still not provided. The following is stated in Section 9 of the bylaw. The applicant shall have the burden of proving by preponderance of the credible evidence that the work proposed in the application will not harm the interests protected by this bylaw. Failure to provide adequate evidence to the Commission supporting a determination that the proposed work will not harm the interests protected by this bylaw shall be sufficient cause for the Commission to deny a permit or grant a permit with conditions, or in the Commission's discretion to continue the hearing to another date to enable the applicant or others to present additional evidence. Numerous public hearings were held on the project since its submission in July 2021. Sufficient information was not provided for the following. The applicant did not provide detailed disclosure on the use of the open space area made up of forested land, 200-foot riverfront area, and bordering land subject to flooding. The open space area is a required component of the project per planning board PUD rules. After numerous requests, the applicant provided a plan depicting a proposed trail loop and 2 footbridge crossings over BBW in an intermittent stream. The waiver request for work within the 25-foot no disturb did not detail these impacts, and sufficient information was not provided to approve the work under the bylaw. The project being a PUD means that the accessible open space is a requirement. Therefore, this work is a necessary component of the project and would consist of jurisdictional activities requiring approval by the Rockland Conservation Commission. Lack of project alternatives. The project as presented by the applicant results in impacts to undeveloped portions of the 25-foot no disturb zone and the vernal pool resource area. After numerous project redesigns, the remaining impacts to these areas are associated with the site access roadway, which is currently the location of the bituminous concrete driveway that was constructed before the passage of the bylaw. All parties, including the Rockland Conservation Commission, recognize that this location is the only point at which the site has frontage on a public right-of-way, and therefore the only means to access egress to and from the site. However, the applicant failed to detail potential project alternatives with no impacts to these areas protected under the bylaw, and did not present a hardship as referenced in section 5B of the bylaw, which is, the commission is empowered to deny a permit for failure to meet the requirements of this chapter, for failure to submit necessary information and plans requested by the commission for failure to meet design specifications, performance standards, and other requirements in the regulations of the commission, for failure to avoid or prevent unacceptable, significant, or cumulative effects upon the wetland values protected by this chapter, and where no conditions are adequate to protect those values. Due consideration shall be given to any demonstrated hardship on the applicant by reason of denial, as presented in the public hearing. Specifically, the following was not considered. The applicant did not provide any record or documentation of a variance request from the planning board for a reduction in roadway width at the site entrance. Reduction in width could potentially eliminate or at least substantially reduce impacts along the site frontage. The applicant did not provide alternative project types that may utilize the development potential of the site in a way that does not require encroachment into undisturbed areas of the undeveloped 25-foot no disturb. Type of development, density of development, and alternative stormwater management designs were not discussed. The applicant did not provide an alternative means to accessing the site at the same point along Concord Street. For example, an assessment of the feasibility of constructing a bridge, structure, or other means of maximizing underlying pervious areas were not considered. In general, the applicant did not demonstrate that efforts were expanded on providing a potential alternative with less impacts to the 25-foot no disturb or vernal pool resource area, whether it be by bridge, reduced roadway width, or alternative roadway surface material. So, that's,
I'm glad you read that.
so
We
that,
wanted to hear me read that.
oh, well, anyway, so that's, I mean, we can add, you know, based on discussion tonight, you know, I'll go in and add in, you know, more, I guess, descriptive language in each of those areas, reasoning for denial, and any additional information the commission would like to add in there. Do that.
Okay, does, anybody want to add anything to our denial letter?
I think we all kind of presented our views.
For the record,
Oh, wasn't I talking on the record before?
just saying.
And if you'd like, I can read the special conditions for the approval.
Can I do just one thing?
Yeah, sure.
Before you do that? We have approved and signed the bills.
Motion,
That was the motion.
Second.
all in favor? Okay. Do you have a secretary's bill, by the way? I didn't see one.
That's all
No,
it is.
it's blank.
Okay, well, then you don't get paid.
That's,
You shouldn't get paid anyway, so.
I know.
Go ahead.
All right, so the, so findings of fact, description just talks about the, I'm gonna skip over this, it just talks about the notice of intent, the fact that the, order of conditions being issued under the act, then the site description, the parcel numbers, you know, talks about this total acreage of the site, what's, you know, it's the habitat, information. And the fact that, an order of resource area delineation was issued by the commission on January 11th, 2019. confirming the following resource areas: banked intermittent stream, median and high water, / riverfront area associated with French's Stream and bordering vegetated wetlands. The order of resource area delineation did not confirm the boundaries of this certified vernal pools, potential vernal pools, and bordering land subject to flooding at the site. And then additional areas subject to protection that exist at this site include 100-foot buffer zone, the bordering land subject to flooding, and actually, we'll take the riverfront out. So the boundary of the bordering land subject to flooding, a portion of which does not have an associated flood, base flood elevation, is not approved by this order. As noted during the ORAD process and documented by the Mass GIS Human Altered Areas data layer, an area of presumably unpermitted bordering vegetated wetland fill exists along the intermittent stream behind the single-family dwelling and totals approximately 7,500 square feet. This area is presently maintained as lawn. During site visits conducted during the summer and fall of 2021, the Rockland Conservation Commission peer reviewer noted the presence of a large potential vernal pool within the B series BVW at the eastern extent of the site. Further review revealed this BVW is hydraulically connected to the certified vernal pool via the intermittent stream. Although a south to north flow is present from the certified vernal pool to the PVP and under the existing driveway via a 12-inch corrugated plastic pipe, flow is presumed to only flow intermittently. The stream was observed to be dry during numerous site visits and is presumed that these resource areas do not support fish population. The B series vernal pool is presumed to provide vernal pool breeding habitat given its water levels exceeding 12 inches over a majority of the surface area of the depression, numerous cover and attachment sites, and its proximity to the certified vernal pool. The applicant considered this potential vernal pool in a resubmission, but did not agree to continue the public hearing to a time of year where a vernal pool species survey could be conducted. Proposed work, it talks about proposed work, site grading, and an establishment of 19 single-family homes, construction of the single-family homes, construction of 945-foot long bituminous roadway terminating in a cul-de-sac, in-kind replacement of the 12-inch pipe under the driveway to accommodate installation of utilities, and then the installation of utilities including water and sewer. Construction of a stormwater management system that includes deep sump catch basins and subsurface stormwater basins, and establishment of a common open space area. The project underwent numerous iterations as the original submission did not initially adequately address the presumption of significance of the buffer zone, nor did it comply with the stormwater standards. To mitigate for the disturbance of the buffer zone that could impact the adjacent BVW, as presented on the final plans and NOI documents, the project proposes the following mitigation measures: restoration of 75 square foot of historically filled BVW, implementation of an invasive species management plan during construction, restoration of approximately 6,300 square feet of developed portions of the 25-foot no disturb, installation of cedar posts with signage along the limits of the development to discourage encroachments further into the resource areas. The following special conditions, then under your normal general conditions, we included and then in addition to those, the applicant shall submit a notice of intent for the construction of open space amenities prior to the issuance of the first occupancy permit. The boundaries of the vernal pools and bordering land subject to flooding are not approved by this order. No buffer zone alteration is permitted other than that allowed by this order and depicted on the final plans of record. An occupancy permit shall not be issued until all restoration work identified in this order has been, at a minimum, completed. And prior to construction, your normal requirements, these are all your standard. A copy of the homeowners association agreement shall be provided to the commission at least 1 month prior to commencement of site activities. Sequencing of work plan related to the replacement of a portion of the 12-inch pipe under the existing driveway shall be submitted to the commission for review and approval prior to the pre-construction site meeting. Plan depicting locations of mitigation plantings, plant layout within the BVW restoration area, associated grading, and species location of landscape planting shall be submitted to the Rockland Conservation Commission for review and approval prior to the pre-construction meeting. The applicant shall resubmit the material submitted on the 18th of February to address Beta's final peer review per the February 2nd letter prior to scheduling pre-construction meeting. And erosion and sediment control is your standard during construction. Your standard development of the project shall be phased as depicted on the plans of record, and the commission shall be contacted in writing prior to advancing phases. SWIP inspection reports shall be provided to the commission on a monthly basis. The commission and/or their representative shall confirm all subsurface soil conditions associated with proposed BMPs prior to beginning installation. At least 3 business days notice for the needed inspection shall be provided. All findings of fact in this order are incorporated as special conditions in and of themselves and are enforceable as such. The applicant shall submit a notice of intent for the construction of open space amenities prior to issuance of the first occupancy permit. I already read this. Sorry.
You must get a little dizzy.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. The location of permanent stormwater BMP shall not be used as construction period settling basins. Once site clearing occurs, the location of permanent stormwater basins shall be staked, and any construction vehicles shall be prohibited from traversing over them. Standard. All boarding, vegetative wetland restoration work shall be completed within 3 months of the construction commencement. If planting cannot occur due to the time of year, then proof of plant material purchased from the supplier shall be submitted to the commission for verification. The applicant shall submit 2 monitoring reports per year for the first 2 years following the completion of the restoration of the 7,500 square feet of historically filled BVW. The first report shall be submitted no later than June 1st, and the second shall be submitted no later than November 1st of any given year. These reports shall identify the success rate of vegetation, establishment of hydrology, and any measures that must be taken to ensure the area achieves at least 75% coverage of native species. The applicant shall submit 2 monitoring reports per year for the first 2 years for the restoration of the approximately 6,300 square feet of previously disturbed areas within 25 but no disturb. The first report shall be submitted no later than June 1st, and the second shall be submitted no later than November 1st of any given year. These reports shall identify the success rate of the vegetation, any measures that must be taken to ensure that the area achieves at least 75% coverage of native species. Post condition, all plantings shall be installed as shown on the plans of record. Any substitution of species shall be at the discretion of the commission. Non-native species are prohibited. All exposed soils shall be immediately seeded with approved native seed mixes. The commission shall be contacted in writing to determine the exact design and specification for the seeded posts and signage to be installed around the limit of the development. All conditions in the order must be complied with prior to the issuance of the final certificate of compliance. Continuing conditions, snow removal and stockpiling at the site shall be conducted in accordance with the most recent edition of the Mass DEP snow disposal guidance. All cedar posts and signage shall be maintained in perpetuity. Signage informing residents of the presence of migrating vertical species shall be installed and maintained for the life of the project. And then we need to add no salt to this.
Marty, I didn't hear anything about establishing a fund for monitoring.
It's in there. That's one of your standard conditions. It's in there.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Just making sure.
Yep. So,
Nice work. Take a little out of petty cash for that one. Jesus. All right, so does the board have any comments, questions? I think Marty pretty much covered the reasons that the board members denied the waiver. Agreed?
Yep. I just made another notation that restoration that they're doing is just to cover the old stuff and it doesn't have anything to do with the
Do
new.
we need to sign those?
Oh, I don't have the signature page with me. I have them all done, but I didn't bring them, I didn't print them out. I know, that's gonna be an issue.
I'd like to give him his orders tonight.
Yeah, I have, again, but I have to make edits to this, anyways. So it wouldn't have been ready to go tonight,
Okay.
so Commissioner's gonna have to sign it. What's the date to they, extended it to? March
Extended it.
24th or something like that?
Oh,
What's
that's
that?
it last time. What did he say?
Who sent the letter?
He wrote a letter, I think.
He did. I don't know if it came through.
He was fairly specific about the days, though.
He
I
was,
think it
yeah.
was just,
It might be, you know what, it might be in here.
Just to get to this meeting. What's that again?
45, I think.
45 days?
March 25th. The extent,
Well, you were meeting next week. You guys are meeting on the 15th. Did you know that? Surprise.
No, I didn't know that.
he
Open space.
agreed to extension to the
We can
25th.
talk about it in a minute and let you know, but.
Are
so
we,
can sign them.
Are we posting that?
I guess we are, yeah.
Then-
And open space is posting for
Then,
That's my extra
then we
bonus.
can sign you.
Yeah, we can sign it.
We discussed this at our last meeting.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
We did have a date.
So just,
We would possibly have a workshop.
so the reason I ask is we can sign the orders in that meeting.
So
We
that's the,
can.
that's
Because
the,
Is
it's
the whole
posted
board
meeting.
there?
Yes.
I won't be there.
15th of the 25th.
The 15th next week, next Tuesday.
That's next Tuesday.
Yeah, so
That's
we
what
can
the-
sign the orders on the 15th
I won't be
and
there.
mail them out.
Alright, so Virginia can't be here. You gotta make sure you have quorum here. She's not gonna be here. Is everyone else gonna be here on the 15th?
I might be sick, I don't know.
Do you need me to come to, am I taking minutes?
I
Do I-
could be
Answer the
feeling ill
question.
at this point.
I reckon you.
Do you need me to be here to take minutes and stuff too?
I think the open space secretary could probably do that now.
They don't have one.
That's why I'm posting the agenda and posting
Well,
the meeting.
Dawn is gonna post an agenda for open space. In other words, there'll be open space agenda posted and our agenda posted. But it's a workshop, it's not a, you know.
But I won't be able to sign because I won't be here. Won't be able to sign.
I can bring it to you. You know what, I'll just bring it around and get it done.
Is there a quorum
Yeah, yep.
of the open space committee and Concom for the workshop?
Yes.
I would think so.
And you better vote, you'd be safer to post both.
So we have to post.
Yeah, we have to post
Yeah,
it.
I mean, as long as 3 members are there, it's a quorum for the board,
Right.
so, you know.
Dawn's,
There's 2 of us that are
Dawn's
there.
posting for open
Yeah.
space.
Right.
I asked if you would post for.
Right, I'll post it on Friday. I just wanna know if you
We'll-
need me to be here for
We'll
that.
get the orders signed prior to that. and
If
get
you
'em out.
can, that'd be good, but one of the open space, committee members, she's been taking notes for them, so she could take notes,
Yeah.
maybe you could,
It's gonna be recorded anyway, right?
I don't think so.
We mail these to the application address, or do you want them to your office?
I don't know, I mean, is there a precedent for like, is there like an appeal process or something for the decision, or?
Well, we did approve the project under the DEP regulation.
Yeah.
So that's what Marty just went through, are all the orders and conditions for that approval.
Okay,
So you would need those.
yes, please, yep.
I don't know what the address is on the application, so.
We would.
It's either mine or Walter Sullivan's. I think.
Whoever's the applicant's rep on the notice of intent, whoever that was, that's where it'll go.
All right.
That's fairly important that you have those.
Yeah.
So,
So,
That's from
we'll get them out,
From the
February.
last.
we'll get them signed this week, as soon as you get the edits done, send them over to me and I'll go around each person's house and have them signed. I have nothing else to do.
Actually, it
during
goes
the
to
day.
the applicant, I'm wrong. So whoever's the applicant on the NOI, that's where it goes.
Yeah.
It's
That's
not
what I
the
meant.
rep, it's the
Yeah.
Yeah,
applicant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I meant, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, so,
Where's your office?
Lorraine, you got,
Kingston.
10 minutes. 10 minutes. I'm going home.
My speech though.
10 minutes. Clock's ticking, you better.
All right, well, the workshop is mainly gonna be to go over the conservation restriction, which has already been sent to the state, the draft. And we won't have it back, their edits or anything back by the time we meet, but we're gonna go over the conservation restriction and also the responsibilities of stewardship, because there are things that we, as a board, will have to be doing. To, yeah, to,
You spearheaded this.
well, no, open space spearheaded, the acquisition of the McCarthy Farm, and now we
Just
have to
kidding.
take care of it.
Just kidding.
And, this afternoon, Marty and I walked the property with Dawn and Mike, and, to get an idea of, so Marty knows what the property looks like. It has been flagged.
Mhm.
Right. And, we're gonna have to file an RDA for work that we're gonna start doing up there.
Footbridges and stuff,
Trails,
clearing.
Oh, and cleaning.
little sheds and things that have to be taken down, and the parking area out in front is gonna be done by the highway department, I believe.
Nice.
So, they wanna get started on the project. We have timelines now, we have to get certain things done by June. So this will all be discussed at the workshop.
We'll have an outline, timeline outline, right? Sounds like a good idea.
Don't worry,
Then everybody knows.
I'll be there in spirit.
I'm doing poorly with this project. I had an eye appointment for the first round, and I'm burying my sister for the second one. I didn't really.
So we don't need to really get into an extensive discussion, because we're gonna do this next week. Is that
Right.
where we're going
It'll
with
be
this?
at 7 o'clock, like our usual
Yeah.
meeting time. I think it's downstairs.
Downstairs.
Yeah, it's like that.
Okay.
It's like my nerve here.
Selectmen on Wednesday night? Or Tuesday night? That's
Next
usually
Tuesday.
Monday night? That's how, that's the
That's what I
selectmen meetings I watch.
Meh.
No, it's next Tuesday, I was told they were up here, so.
Okay. So,
Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Marty, as far as what you've observed?
I mean, the trail work, they're not proposing, they're just basically proposing, footpaths. It's pretty, the understory's pretty clear already, so there's not gonna be much clearing at all, maybe some briar removal.
it's not very dense, right?
No, it's not at all. And, you know, so the work, it's not, there's gonna be no, they're not proposing any fill in the wetlands. There's only one section that they're gonna have to actually, walk through. It's right off the trailhead parking area. And it's, I mean, it's wet, but it's not like, you know, super wet. And then the work on the, it's already cleared, the area, the parking area is already cleared. So I think they're just gonna propose some stone dust type, you know,
Recycled asphalt maybe.
yeah, something like that. So there's really, you know, then the outbuildings, they're all in the buffer zone. So as long as they can get the materials out of the site somehow without having to, you know, drive through the wetland, then an RDA should be sufficient. So that they're talking with somebody about using an existing driveway that's out there. But, so.
Yeah, because there's a driveway to the house now.
The house has been sold.
Yeah, it's been sold, but,
Oh, it is?
yeah, so.
You didn't go to the open house?
I'm not in the housing market currently.
Where did you see that? Is that?
It was listed, I think, in January.
I think it was close to $1 million. Wasn't it?
No.
You only bought it for $75,000.
Yeah, I think it was, no, he dropped his price actually 50,000, I think it was 3,
Is that next door then, maybe I saw $1 million, I don't know.
Probably the nice house that the youngsters were in, that they walked around with us. They were very pleased to see us too.
Right,
So the only other thing that I need is the form for the RDA to give to Dawn.
Yeah. No, I was gonna email, I can email, or I can email to you.
You can send it to us, we'll get it out.
I'll send it to Carrie and Doug and you, I have your email. Okay.
You want me to bring it to the workshop? We're not gonna fill it out, I hope.
No.
I'm gonna send her an email, just kind of what she needs to do.
Marty always has our back. All right, does
Yep.
anybody else have anything else? So that's-
We sent our bills to them.
I got a headache.
Yeah, actually, it would be
Motion
good.
to adjourn? Oh, so, too early.
Thank you.
What's up?
Oh, she's just gonna be back herself.
Motion to adjourn. What's that?
That was Virginia.
Second from
Yeah.
Charlene. All approved? 2 hands went up by everyone.